Chinese Speaker Li Jiangshu, who is on a 4-day visit to Nepal ahead of the November 20th polls, has expectedly inquired about a possible left alliance. The Chinese speaker has also inquired about the status of MCC while praising Nepal's role on SPP. The Nepali side, meanwhile, has raised the issue of constraints at the northern transits, urging the Chinese delegation to do the needful to ease what Nepal terms an undeclared blockade. Good morning, I'm Abheudaya Shrestha, and these are the headlines of the hour. Suspended Chief Justice Cholendra Rana fails to produce any evidence to prove his innocence. Impeachment Recommendation Committee to probe individuals alleged by Rana. Prime Minister Shrestha expresses his commitment of further strengthening Nepal-China relations. Nepali leaders request China to resume the operation of northern border points. Chinese President Xi Jinping set to meet his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin on his first trip overseas since the start of the coronavirus pandemic in early 2020. And Bayern Munich blanked Barcelona 2-0 in a group match of the Champions League. Liverpool edged past Ajax 2-1 in another Champions League tie. Prime Minister Shrestha has expressed commitment of further bolstering relationship with China. In his meeting with Chinese Speaker and head of the Chinese National People's Congress, Li Jiangshu, Prime Minister Shrestha clarified that any activity against China would not be allowed in Nepali territory. Saying that Nepal's foreign policy was based on the principles of peaceful coexistence, Prime Minister Shrestha reiterated Nepal's commitment to one China policy. Chinese Speaker Li said that China was serious and alert about Nepal's sovereignty and national unity. The Chinese delegation was busy holding meetings throughout the day yesterday. Li also held separate talks with National Assembly Chairperson Ganesh Prasad Timilsina, CPN-UML Chairperson KP Sharma Oli, CPN Maoist Center Chairperson Pushpa Kamal Dahal, and Minister for Foreign Affairs Naran Khadka. In the meeting, Nepali leaders urged China to resume the operation of Rasuagadi and Tatopani border points before the Dasai festival, stressed on expediting projects under the Belt and Road Initiative, held talks regarding topics of mutual interests between Nepal and China, and expressed belief that both nations would reap expected benefits from the Nepal-China strategic partnership. Meanwhile, Chinese Speaker Li extended his best wishes for the nearing provincial and parliamentary elections. He had arrived in Nepal on Monday for a 4-day visit. Speaker of the House of Representatives Agni Prasad Sapkota and Li signed a 6-point agreement for parliamentary collaboration between the two countries. Chinese Speaker Li is scheduled to meet President Bidyadevi Bhandari today before returning to China tomorrow. The Parliament's Impeachment Recommendation Committee has completed recording the final statements of suspended Chief Justice Cholendra Rana. The committee had asked 8 questions to Rana during the meeting held at Singhadarbar yesterday. Suspended Chief Justice Rana answered 42 questions altogether. Rana has been claiming his innocence, saying that the impeachment motion against him did not hold any validity. Rana had rather been airing sarcastic remarks while making several allegations against his counterparts, legal practitioners, and political parties and leaders during the interrogations. The Impeachment Recommendation Committee is further preparing to interrogate those named by Rana in his statements. The crowds of consumers in markets have increased with the nearing festivities. However, businesses are yet to pick up pace amid government restrictions on imports, obstructions at the northern border, inflation, and decrease in income of the consumers. Goods worth 150 billion rupees were imported between mid-September and mid-October of the previous fiscal year, while the figure this fiscal year has been reduced by 13% to 131 billion rupees. Majority of the public's Dasai shopping used to be limited to clothes, spices, among other utensils until 2 decades ago. Over the years, changes in the shopping trend have been witnessed. Apart from consumable goods, people have been demanding jewelries, cars, and electronic devices as well. Majority of these goods are imported. Goods and services worth 774 billion rupees were imported in the fiscal year 2072-73 of the Nepali calendar year. With the first 5 months of the last fiscal year, goods worth 838 billion rupees were imported, which is 43% of the total import of the year. Along with the nearing Dasai and Tihar festivals, the provincial and parliamentary elections are approaching. The consumption is therefore expected to increase. Meanwhile, the decrease in foreign exchange reserve, government's restriction in import, and obstacles in the operation of the northern border points prompted by the COVID-19 pandemic have affected consumption in Nepal. The rate of consumption has increased with the increase in import annually. It's time now for our segment Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question. What should be done to avoid shortage of consumable goods during the nearing festivals? Your options are A, ease supply, B, reduce consumption, and C, increase production. The voting is on. Type NEWS, select your option A, B, or C, and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. The government has intensified monitoring at the Tribhuvan International Airport following the increase in reports of cases related to human trafficking. According to the Human Trafficking Bureau of Nepal Police, a total of 381 individuals leaving for Dubai were returned from the Tribhuvan International Airport in the past 3 weeks alone. It has been found that many people had been leaving from Nepal with fake documents and bank accounts. Police investigations have found that many Nepalis had been taken to Mexico through Dubai, Tanzania, and Nigeria, while many others were stranded in Turkey. A total of 673 human trafficking cases have been filed in Nepal in the past 3 years. Of them, 579 accused are still at large. Meanwhile, strict monitoring and provisions introduced by the Ministry of Home Affairs have also been criticized as violation of fundamental rights. In our Public Voice segment, we had asked the general public what should be done to put an end to the need for seeking jobs abroad. Let's take a look at what they had to say.
Public Voice.
आफ्नो देशमा गर्न सक्ने काम गर्नु पर्यो
गरिखाने शिक्षा दिन सकियो भने कम्तीमा स्वदेशमै रोजगारी पाउने वातावरण बन्छ
पढेर लेखेर आफ्नै देशमा केही गरौँ भन्ने खालको वातावरण हुनु पर्यो
उद्योग धन्दाहरु राम्रोसँग ठाउँ-ठाउँमा खोलिए राम्रो चाहिँ उनीहरु रोजगारी पाउँथ्यो
शिक्षामा लगानी गरेपछि यतिकै विदेशी रोजगार कम भइहाल्छ
Sports News.
Nepal's under-17 national team is taking on India in the finals of the under-17 SAF Championship today. The match in Sri Lankan capital Colombo is slated for 8:15 p.m. kickoff Nepal time. India had crushed Nepal 7-0 in the last edition of the Games. Team Nepal has displayed a strong form this season and has already chalked out a 3-1 win against India in the group stage. Maintaining an unbeaten record, Nepal in the tournament has scored 11 goals while conceding a solitary goal that came in the match against India. Nepal had crushed Sri Lanka 6-0 in the semi-finals, while India had chalked out a 2-1 win over Bangladesh. Nepal's coach Urjan Shrestha, on the eve of the match, expressed confidence that his boys would repeat the group stage performance against India. That's all for the moment. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.